Hello, everybody. This is gonna be like an anime discussion for me and John here about a legendary director born in this month of Halloween, and he was born on October 12th. And this legendary man made only 4 films, and yet these 4 films have profound influences over here in the West. In fact, it influences his favorite directors too.
Well, Christopher Nolan, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, one of them.
Darren Aronofsky, I have not seen any of his films because one of them, the poster actually absolutely freaked me out,
and it's also super depressing.
Yeah. And I'm sure maybe even Edgar Wright, who made the Cornetto trilogy, and Scott Pilgrim may have taken influence from this man.
Yes, and this man, his name is Satoshi Kon. And Mr. Kon is on the opposite, like, if you were to have a little scale here, where you got Hayao Miyazaki, Mr. Kon would be at the way other end. He kind of, he does some very serious work. It's more, not fantasy, it's very grounded.
Yeah.
As grounded as can be.
Yeah.
Because it takes place in the real world, Japan. And also, the fact of the matter is, people look realistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The way Satoshi Kon or Satoshi Kon, I'm going to be alternating between a lot of the way he animates people. It's almost like he actually took the frames and actually just traced over them. Yeah.
I mean, the people, like, most nowadays, a lot of the anime characters look so
similar.
Yeah, it's like, you look at every shonen character, like spiky here, spiky here, spiky here. Hey, red, orange. Do any of you wear any green? Oh, hey, there's Deku. But that's getting off track.
All right. Now, but his style, his way of telling stories, or at least what the themes that he likes to use, are also kind of what makes him very prolific.
Yes. The use of subjective reality. Mm-hmm. The fact of what is real. That was his fascination, was what is real. And he exploited it in so many different facets, so many different ways. You would think there's not many ways to do that. No, the Matrix had a computer, so you're like, okay, yeah, you can use that. Is there any other ways to use that? Oh, he found ways to use it.
And this actually his directorial debut actually came out before The Matrix, 1 year before The Matrix.
Yes, and it's called Perfect Blue. Now, Perfect Blue is very heavy, and we're not talking about we're talking about heavy as in not for kids.
No, it's definitely not. It's not safe for kids, and maybe even for some adults. It might go against their own values. But if you love movies, if you like anime, if you like new story, if you like storytellers that tell stories that aren't really talked about a lot, this is one of them.
Yes,
I will say, yeah, it does have Deadpool level of graphic nudity.
Yes, and there are some scenes that will make you squirm.
Mm-hmm. But the bloodiness, however, I think would be more along the lines of, I guess, maybe late 70s, early 80s slasher films. You know, like Halloween and Friday the 13th. They're alright.
Yeah.
It's not too gory.
Yeah, but, so, the basic crust of this film is a pop idol wants to become an actress. She wants to transition from one medium
to another.
Yes. And sadly, this is where it gets interesting because Satoshi Kon loves to do social studies or study of the social us, the people, how we act. And to say it's disturbing how the fan base believe to have possession of a person.
It's well, that's kind of what also makes it very relevant, because nowadays on the forum there's so many like there's fan wars based on what is the better series. I mean, even with its own community, think of Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes.
It is relevant. It is relevant today, and not just how we kind of treat stuff in properties that we care about, but how we treat people who we admire. I mean, do we admire? And also ask the question: do we admire them for their humanity? Do we admire them for their humanity, or do we admire them because they give us joy?
Yes, and the fact that you build up such a high pedestal, and to an extent that it is disturbing how far people go. When your favorite idol quits and you believe she's a traitor? Mm-hmm. And that's not even mentioning, that's just the tip of the iceberg on this film. The fact that the rest of the film, Mima goes in a downward spiral because she finds a website called Mima's Room. Mima's Room is essentially a fan blog. However, there's a lot of information that is so personal, she herself would have to have written it.
Yeah, it's almost, it's kind of, it's programmed in a way, or the website is written as if it is Mima, the pop idol, that is writing it. And so throughout the whole movie, you're kind of wondering, is Mima like have multiple personality, or DID? That is the real medical condition where she has these blackouts. And ultimately, the way that this is structured in a way that brings our confusion along, that we're confused along with her, like we don't know what her reality is anymore.
Yes, and it's not even helping the fact that she doesn't even know if it could be means three things. First off, we have Mima the pop idol, and then her character added into the mix. The fact that she now has a not personality, but she has to be a different character. And this is interspliced with her, you'll be watching a scene, she's walking the street, a guy approaches her, they make talk, and then you get cut!
Yep.
And you're like,
yeah, oh, we were in a movie.
Yeah!
Right. And let's see, I have only seen this once, but was there even moments where even after yelled cut, after a few minutes pass, and then it's like cut again?
Yes, because it'd be like cut the first time, and you're like, okay, that's a movie. Something happens, and then there's another cut, and you're like, okay, which is real now?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's one scene where there's a chase. She runs in the street, and then she looks like she's about to get hit, and then opens her eyes. So like, whoa. It's like almost Inception here. Dreaming. She's like, okay, we're now not sure what's real and what isn't anymore. And the twist though, ooh.
The twist is like the best that I've seen in stories in recent years, and yes, that is counting even Shyamalan's earlier works.
Yes. And this is the kind of twist that, does come out of left field. You really have to be paying attention.
Yeah. Again, kind of almost like the Sixth Sense.
Yes. And the fact that the information's there, you just have to know where to look.
Mm-hmm. Perfect Blue, for me, my favorite part of Perfect Blue, I love the opening sequence, the opening credit sequence, because of the editing that's done. We're given two different moments that are cut pretty well, so that they're almost in sync. They mirror each other, or they match each other. And that is when Mima's on stage in her pop idol persona, and when she's just doing normal everyday things as a real person, like riding the subway or going to the grocery store. Say we're in the moment where she's up on stage and she's singing her song, and all of a sudden she turns to the right. Well, then we'll cut to her being in the grocery store where she turns right and sees a carton of milk and grabs it.
Yeah, and well, my favorite part. Oh man, there's a lot. The confrontation between this crazy stalker. I'm not going to go into details. You guys have to watch it. But it needs to be seen to be believed. It's the creepiness is built up. And what helps, guys, this is so important. Music. The composer for this film this is his only film. This is the only film he composed. And wow, the music of the confrontation is so chaotic. The guy uses sirens. He uses police. Is that hospital sirens? Ambulance sirens? I don't know what kind of sirens.
They're sirens.
They're sirens, and in the background, and it's very chaotic. You don't know what's going on.
What's it called?
Uchiha theme.
Uchiha?
Uchida.
Uchida.
Yes.
Okay. Now we'll give you a link below.
Yes. And it's just creepy, but it's not as creepy as the fact that Virtual Mima, which is the theme when Pop Idol Mima appears, which every time I hear that theme, it makes me shiver. But as I mentioned, the favorite part is confrontation because of how it ended, and you know what I'm talking about. We had such a big build-up. But again, no spoilers.
No spoilers. All in all, I think actually Perfect Blue might be my favorite of Satoshi Kon's in terms of editing and storytelling, and just overall, and also just character.
I would say this is probably his best one. It may not be my personal favorite, but on the technicality, it is his best one.
I think it might actually be a personal favorite in my life. Alright, what was his next one?
This next one, So continuing with the subjective reality, this time he goes into memories.
This is Millennium Actress, right?
Millennium Actress, and this is Doug Walker's favorite.
This isn't a thriller.
Oh,
it's not a thriller that pretty much that Hitchcock would say, my good sir, I tip my hat to you, or something like that. I don't know what I say. But it's more of a romance.
Yes, it's a magical romantic adventure in a way, because even though it's kind of like what's real anymore, because here's the thing, memories are not concrete.
Yeah.
So the fact that you think you remember something, but you're not. What you're actually remembering is the time you recalled that memory.
And I finally completed it, and the whole story centered around this interviewer who is later revealed has actually worked at the studio that
this famous actress,
named Chioko actually worked for. He was an assistant director or an assistant hand. He was an on hand. Essentially, he just did the minor stuff. Yeah, and so apparently he spent years trying to track Chioko down to interview her, but ultimately to apparently return a
personal
lost key.
item.
Yeah, a lost key, and he still brings his camera guy and the lighting equipment, and so he still does this job, but ultimately that wasn't his real motive.
Yeah.
And so we're brought into Chioko's little life story of how she started as an actress to her final film role to just living as, well, a recluse.
Yeah, and I have to say, this is when you start noticing a trend that Mr. Kon loves his movies.
He really does. And it's kind of also a reason why I love his work, is that it's almost like Quentin Tarantino. You see that he loves movies, but he doesn't. But he loves them so much that he doesn't want to copy and paste from them.
Yes, and in fact, like
he'll may have drawn in inspiration, and he may have taken from. There is this saying: a good artist imitates, a great artist steals.
Yes. And the fact that this is like an entire film about the golden era of cinema for Japan, with featuring like almost like Akira Kurosawa here.
Yeah.
You know, there's a samurai, and in fact, this is what got me into Akira Kurosawa's films, anyways.
Which I still have to see. I know there's like an ever-growing list of movies that I have to see.
And it's kind of funny that Mr. Kon might have to be placed besides Mr. Kurosawa as another very inspirational Japanese director. Because Mr. Kurosawa made Seven Samurai, which made The Magnificent Seven.
Mm-hmm.
He also made Yojimbo, which gave us a fistful of dollars.
And my whole experience with Millennium Actress, Millennium Actress it was very confusing because she's telling us a story about her life, and yet we're constantly popping into movies, and it's almost like, okay, so the movies are like an autobiography in a sense.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird that how serendipitous it was that she would act in movies that reflect her own pattern, her own moments in her life.
Yes, and that's including like the cameraman's confusion. He's like, "Where are the bandits?" And he goes to the interviewer and like, "You're in the wrong outfit."
Yeah.
So that's like leaning on the fourth wall a bit, and there's a lot of humor that gave way for the next film.
But which we'll get to later. I have to say, even though this probably might be, I don't know what kind of audience or how well loved this movie is, but I have to say this is pretty good, but it's not really my favorite. Not a personal favorite.
Well,
but I do like that it is kind of a love letter to filmmaking in general. But that's not to say that there were bad moments.
Oh no.
I loved
the Godzilla.
Not the Godzilla. That's not actually the Godzilla's part of it. The entire sequence where after years of chasing after this man that she met twice, that she promised to see again, then she starts running, and we get all the cuts of all of her running, of her stumbling from different parts of her life and different roles that she played in. I like that before bringing us back to how we started.
Yes. Though my favorite part in that was more or less her freak out, because it just made you realize, because of, like, I don't want to spoil anything. It's more like a realization that hits you hard like a hammer of why she went into acting. And you realize her freak out would make so much sense. But that is to say that you know that this movie stole awards from Spirited Away.
Stole awards?
It split awards away from Spirited Away. Apparently this came out in senior year Spirited Away.
Okay, so maybe it did that. But Spirited Away did win the Oscar.
Yes, it did. But that doesn't take away from how that just ouch.
I Mary Poppins stole awards away from the unsingable Molly Brown.
I know, but still, it's like, this is Hayao Miyazaki we're talking about here.
I know.
Oh,
But anyway, yeah, Millennium Actress is pretty good. It's not a personal favorite, not a favorite of mine, but you know, it's still good.
Yeah.
And also, this was the first film to use Hirasawa.
Yes, Hirasawa. Is it Susumu?
Susumu?
Yes, Susumu Hirasawa. The guy you will know from Berserk or Forces. Know that whole famous shouting bit. However, this is like I love the soundtrack for this film, but it's not my favorite. That's in movie number 4.
Yeah, same here.